They using the artist as the puppet.
Right.
And because his mentality make him write his art in such a unique form, then they manipulate him by giving him the halftime show.
Right.
So now they got his energy, and it's tied to the energy of everybody watching and everybody that's gonna try to figure out in the aftermath. Only thing I cared about is Uncle Sam left stage left. Exit
Yeah.
stage left. He ain't coming back.
Yeah. And they had Samuel Jackson, who was the same dude that played the dude in Django Unchained when he came to the house. He said, "All right, you got that, in on the nag or whatever." So
That wasn't no accident.
go ahead.
The same way I've been telling you they were sweetheart swindling the big mamas in order to marry into the family. And then they was telling us there was war going on. So if we leave, somebody might capture us and put us in slavery because of the war. This where your slave narrative was born at.
Right.
Just the labor pains of it. So when you see the character in Django, Samuel L. Jackson, he's the one who hired the paleface to pretend to be the boss of the plantation,
Right.
Mr. Jones' plantation.
Yeah.
And it was his job to try to keep the family that was out in the field from coming up to see what's going on in Big Mama house, because this ain't how she left.
Yeah, you had ran it down to me before about how Samuel Jackson really was the real owner, and they had hired him as a front man to make it like, they ain't the one doing it, this guy doing it. Another part that was interesting about that halftime, if one of the guys, I don't know if he was part of the show or not, but he was dressed like the people that was the dancers. He held up a Sudanese flag, if I'm not mistaken. And then the cops chased him off the field and tackled him. So I wonder, you see any connections with Sudan flag? And it could be
in Gaza. He was talking about the struggle in Gaza.
Okay.
He was talking about the Palestinian plight in Gaza.
Okay.
All I can tell you, if they tell the Palestinians to clear Gaza out, when they come back, it's going to be rubble. So let Donald J. Trump tell them to go on and leave. If Donald Trump tell the Palestinians to leave, when they get enough of them out of there where they can minimize the collateral damage, they leveling that bitch.
Okay. Hey, this is my next question I got for you. Now, with the black hand, because we got a lot of newcomers, everybody's starting to become this black hand thing is really out there now. Like people starting to know. Now, this is my question with the secret societies and the black hands. Now, do the black hands have their? I heard of this group called the Pilgrim Group, and I figured out they was connected to the Black Hand, the Pilgrim Society, and the Jason Society. All these different.
Okay, so those what you hearing about when you hear about the Pilgrim Society?
Yeah.
This was creating a fraternal brotherhood, which under common law is a tribe.
Okay.
But under admiralty law, it's a 501c3 something else fraternal order brotherhood. Right? And the purpose is to be able to function as a tribe while you live intermingle with other people. And your tribe was supposed to be
the Black Hand, all these groups. Why do they do all of these rituals in our face, hoping that we can't decode it or know what's going on? That'll be the first question. Go ahead.
First off, is the reason they do it in your face is because they have to show you what they're doing and give you the opportunity to discover it. They disguise it in political satire, sports, arts, and entertainment. They disguise it. When you start getting into the real sources of power and the wielding of power, it don't look the same. They need your energy, so they give you what's called a compelling spectacle 48 laws of power say create a compelling spectacle. That means P.T. Barnum, sucker born every minute. The whole circus philosophy of P.T. Barnum, remember, when P.T. Barnum came to power, there was no TV, no radio, right? So he was entertaining people with far-fetched ideas that just might be true. So when they do the ritual in your presence, they make you party to the ritual. But you have to do something in order to participate, in order for the energy to transfer. For example, everybody decoding the halftime show. The ones of us who are waking up, this is the goal. They want you to figure it out. They want you to see what it all means, but they want you to work out the problem in the group math problem with other people of similar and like minds that can see the code, because when you put enough of them together, you activate what's called a power module. So when we trying to decode it, we burning up the algorithm, telling them that we hooked on the Super Bowl halftime show. When they know that the algorithm is reading our involvement and association with the halftime show, they expect a certain number. If they get one person more than that, that means that they've harnessed all of the energy that they was expecting to harness from that event. Right?
That's
So
deep.
remember, I've been telling y'all they had to create chaotic episodes on their way out, kicking and screaming. Right? So these rituals is the lodges talking to each other. They using the artist as the puppet.
Right.
And because his mentality make him write his art in such a unique form, then they manipulate him by giving him the halftime show.
Right.
So now they got his energy, and it's tied to the energy of everybody watching and everybody that's going to try to figure out in the aftermath. Only thing I cared about is Uncle Sam left stage left. Exit
Yeah.
stage left. He ain't coming back.
Yeah. And they had Samuel Jackson, who was the same dude that played the dude in Django Unchained when he came to the house. He said, "How you got that, in on a nag or whatever." So
That wasn't no accident.
go ahead.
The same way I've been telling you they were sweetheart swindling the big mamas in order to marry into the family, and then they was telling us there was war going on. So if we leave, somebody might capture us and put us in slavery because of the war. This where your slave narrative was born at.
Right.
Just the labor pains of it. So when you see the character in Django, Samuel L. Jackson, he's the one who hired the paleface to pretend to be the boss of the plantation,
Right.
Mr. Jones'
Okay.
plantation.
Yeah.
And it was his job to try to keep the family that was out in the field from coming up to see what's going on in Big Mama house, because this ain't how she left.
Yeah, you had ran it down to me before about how Samuel Jackson really was the real owner, and they had hired him as a front man to make it like they ain't the one doing it, this guy doing it.
Now I'm staring at the moment of truth like the bull at the last stroke of the bullfight. I could see the matador beyond the cape. I could see the fraud behind the curtain. I could see Geppetto pulling Pinocchio's strings, telling him to tell these lies. My feelings was hurt, but as I recovered from those hurt feelings, I started to have a different position and perspective of looking at the devil in his face. And everything that they did to us to separate us, I got to work to undo that. I don't know if I'll be successful, Because there's still going to be some idiots going to hate somebody because of the way they look. Mm-hmm. Right? Never knowing that the enemy don't care how you look. He coming at both of y'all ass. It's the same enemy. The enemy that sent them to do the dirt they didn't want to do, that was because they was trying to stop their babies from getting ate. Right? Then some of them was willing participants. Some of them to this day hold that viewpoint. That's okay. Because the guillotine will fix them. I just want to be the one pull the lever. I want a whole bunch of guillotines connected to one lever so it'll make a song when it start going down the line. I call it my guillotine concerto.
Off with their heads.
Off with their mucking heads.
Well, it's just, like I said, my heart has always been, for trying to help folks, come through something, as a former pastor and all that. It's always about helping folks come through. But when you have to try to go back and get people out of something that you had a part of putting them in, you know what I mean? You told them that this was.
That gives you a higher sense of duty to want to do it, but it makes you more frustrated doing it because you remember you used to teach it.
Yeah, that's the part.
And it comes with a sense of shame as you trying to tell somebody that I was tricked too.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't have told you that bullshit. The mind control, the mental trap, the illusion that they paint, it's a compelling story. The greatest story ever told that ain't true. They tell you it's the greatest story ever told. They just don't tell you that Josephus Flavius wrote it. And that it was never a religious book, but it was a whole theater played out before they had TVs and radios in the play format. That's why you got the verses in the Bible. Because all of the verses is somebody remembering their lines. The more verses you can remember, you can play any part if you can remember the whole thing. They use the same format in order to create Hafiz in Islam. Because the ones who gonna rise up to be the leaders of their clan, to try to expand reach and join the other clans and to get the imposters off the land, they have to control them, so they use the religious paradigm. Christianity didn't work on all them people in the Middle East. They was too volatile. They needed a volatile savior. So they saturate him with all these Catholics in order to influence what they need him to teach. So now he got to go to his Bible scholars in order to verify his revelations, in order to make sure that he translating correctly what the Spirit is telling him, and they telling them the wrong answer on purpose. But really, we don't know what he said because he ain't write shit, because they said he was illiterate, right?
Okay. Somebody did, but it wasn't him.
Now, remember that they burnt up every known copy at one point of the Quran in the Crusades. They purged all of the mosques because regular people didn't have one. Only the imams and the sheikhs had them. And they knew where they all was at because they wasn't mass produced. They was produced on different parchments and leaves and clay tablets or whatever kind of format, but that's not, so it's easy to keep track because you know who the printer was, and the printer know where every copy he sent out because he know how many he made. Because he might only make one every 2-3 years because he got to take his time and write each letter because he don't got no printer. That's what made I think it was the Coverdale Bible so popular, the first mass print, or the Tinsdale Bible, the first mass print production of a Bible. So if they was all doing it by hand back then, they had to know the calligraphy, which is the penmanship required as a scribe to be able to transcribe something. We keep looking at ancient stuff with modern eyes, and that's why we keep getting confused about what we seeing in them stories. You got to look at ancient things with ancient eyes and then adjust your view for the future. When you know the history of what's been going on, you realize, okay, Josephus Flavius was the student of a guy named Origen, known as the first century Christian philosopher. Why his books ain't in the Bible? Because his was wrote before Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, Episcopal, any of that. Revelation. Origen's book was before all of them, and he was the foremost authority on Christianity in the first century, and none of his books is in the Bible. That tell you that it ain't got nothing to do with Christianity. Mm-hmm. And that's why the Coptic Bible and the regular Bible, they're not the same. They don't say the same stuff under translation because you got two different groups of people talking, one passing off as the other. But Al Kupt, the leader of the Coptics, he know. They rewrote our stuff and tried to pass it off as the doctrine of men. And it wrote it right in the book. These people draw near unto me with their mouth, but their hearts are far from me. Teaching as commandment the doctrines of men. Where are they getting their commandments from? Out of a book that some man wrote? Who wrote what chapter? They don't know. The church don't know. Nobody in the church know who wrote none of them books. They get credit to the people that they name them after, but some of the people they named them after, not even a name. It's a title, like Daniel. Daniel means the judgment of God. And that's not a name, that's a title. Right? David, the beloved. That's not a name, that's a title. The sheep herder's boy. All of these stories is being adopted and stolen from ancient cultures to be told to us in just a way to make us attached to it by genetic memory. You know the stories, you just get it out of order. They got the stories out of order in our head because we don't know the holy drama. We don't know the confessions of Mott. We don't know the principles of Mott. Right? We don't know none of the sciences that was common to us back in the day that irons everything out and make it as crisp and clean as starched blue jeans. The culture don't lie though. It's going to play out in the people. They're going to tell the same story that was the ancient stories in the correct format using a modern method. We ain't never stopped singing. We ain't never stopped rapping. We ain't never stopped beatboxing. We ain't never stopped making beats off stuff that don't even supposed to be made beats on. Now you see us in Central Park, we got buckets, pots, garbage cans. We got pencils and cups. It's in us. We naturally have, you can't deny what's in you because it'll drive you stir crazy. The harder you fight being yourself, this tie back to the self-work, Dr. G. The harder you fight being yourself, the harder your life fights you back.
Yeah.
But sometimes embracing being who you are requires you to fight to become your next level. Because you need to require struggle in order to project you forward a little bit stronger. As soon as you stop taking things personally, then you can deal with yourself. A lot of time people be assuming somebody said something and they meant something that they never said or meant. But somebody thought they heard something, but it didn't what they heard. Now they delivering the story that ain't even what it was supposed to be. That then started some stuff that wasn't never supposed to happen. Between some people who had never supposed to cross paths. You tying up other people's lanes with your BS. So you got to reverse engineer all of the stories. Why are they telling us this? Why are they choosing to tell us these stories as history, religion, and spirituality and whatnot? Why are these stories selected? Because I'm pretty sure, based on how many people I see around me living their life experience, more stuff was happening than this one story. That same story might have been happening somewhere else to somebody else that it had nothing to do with the story you telling. So now you tying the holographic effect into something. It's trickery. Technology, Yakub, the underminer. The one who sat up under mama's table that didn't belong there. Trying to keep everybody that was rising up to the top from getting there. And using every nefarious method known to man. And we still here. Baby kids, we don't die, we multiply. Big Mama told us don't stop till the fight over. We'll do 1,000 reincarnations and we won't even think about it. We eternal beings. We got lives to give because we got other lives to live. And that's why they say it's better. The one who finds himself after he dies, you know, he lives in it. But the one who dies when he finds himself here, he lives eternal life on earth.
Well, I have
That's
some
why.
questions. When you finish that, I'm going to have some questions that I starred that I want to, if you don't mind, because if you a couple more. Here's one. I was asked to ask you about Toussaint's last name, the origin of Toussaint's last name, and for if you could speak on the Bayou Gula connection.
The Bayou
Gula.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. I'm not real versed in the Bayou Gula. I can't go into that. I'll be making it up.
And I appreciate that.
Is Toussaint last name? Anybody can look the name up and get that. That's like it's the person that carried the name that was more important than the name itself. It was the actions carried out by the person that made the name be the moniker to remember the person that did the work of the day. Those ancestors like Toussaint, like Duddy Bookman, that fought for the liberation of Haiti, right? They spirit transcends the name. But you use the name in order to remain, in order to have a timeline to look at. The work was more important. The name was just telling us what energy was moving around, was wearing at the time he was making his moves. Right? It's the same with Tuscaloosa. Badass dude. Right? But we still remember his energy. And we see his descendants walk the land. We recognize that energy. So it's more to the Haitian Revolution than I'm qualified to tell, because I had an overview of it. The reference I give people is the person who I listen to for my Haitian history is Baina Bello. She's a Haitian from Haiti with ties and roots to the land. And she came over here to teach us about exactly what he's asking or she's asking. That's her job. She do it for a living.
Okay.
And she give it away for free.
Okay. All right. Here's another. Why are they flying in gold from all over the world?
You want your money back? You want your wealth back? If somebody got to go get it, they got to come back home. What Malcolm say? Everybody happy when the chickens come on the roof. Seizing and returning assets. That's what you're looking at. Seizing and returning assets.
That makes
Remember, France came over here in the 70s and told America to run that gold. America told Millie Mouth Nixon, say, we are no longer under the standard of gold, but we can give you some of these fiat greenbacks.
IOUs.
We'll settle up at the end, buddy.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's a
Now, it's no coincidence you got auditing going on, and then you have massive gold returns coming at the same time. The Federal Reserve notes is under the scrutiny of the audit because the Federal Reserve note, the fiat currency, you heard what the Supreme Court ruled, right? The fiat currency is not money.
Well, we know that. But there's a
And
new recent Supreme Court ruling.
Yeah.
We're not talking about that Moore case, Moore versus United. That was because that one wasn't real. I understand.
The Moore case was
that seemed like it wasn't really filed, but it was like that was put out as if it was it had actually been
settled.
Settled, but it wasn't. It wasn't.
Yeah. Sometimes stuff settled. Listen, sometimes stuff is settled tribally, and it don't show up in the system.
Well, he wasn't.
It's a whole. I know. It's a whole nother system. But the reason why I said that is sometimes people put out information in the coded format.
Okay.
You gotta remember, they liquidating the corporation's asset. The Republic's responsibility is to have an accounting for all our stuff when they give it back. So they have to audit it. Remember when it was time to shut the corporations down, the Pope called all of the wealth of the Vatican. Now America, the Republic under Donald J, is calling in all of their money. It's time to pay up. It's time to pay the piper. The bill always comes due. It's checkout time. Get my money to the house. I need to cash my chips. We win, they lose. They not like us, but they thought they was slicker than us. But they ain't know my uncle was Slick Willie, a modern day hillbilly. All their secrets get exposed by their activities. If we don't be narrow-minded and believe the hype, because a lot of things is dogmatic. Anything that tells you just to influence how you feel about other people that you don't even know, that's a control measure. But something that tells you, that inspires you to be the best in who you are, that's a liberation measure. And you can feel the difference in the energy because it feels better to celebrate than to do the player hate. I'd rather buy you a cake than watch you fall in one. I feel better about being able to give you a cake than to watch you destroy your cake. Some people can't wait for you to destroy your cake because it ain't their cake. They just waiting, and if they can help you, they're gonna try to trip you so you can land face first in your cake. They don't want to see you win at no cost, not because you did something wrong, but because they think if you win, that mean they lose. That mean they ain't really on your team.
True.
My whole team is shooter. If one shoot, we all gonna shoot. So I gotta keep them all separated in different places. Can't none of them be two together at any given time unless something gets shot up. Cause we don't play about each other. So to maintain the peace, you separate the pieces. Everybody know their position. All they got to do is be themselves, and they're gonna be playing their part. Then when it's time to square up, you know, ring that bell. It's meal time.
Couple more. What does or do the Jesuits have to do with all this?
The Jesuits is part of all of the secret societies infighting for dominance and supremacy and control over the information that control the spiritual development of the masses of the people. The Jesuits were actually rebels of Catholics in the Catholic Church, trying to overthrow the Catholic Church from the inside so that they can give everything back to Isis, the Great Mother. So that's why you got three different popes, because you got three different denominations or three different jurisdictions playing out. And the Pope is the highest imam on the land. And the Pope is the highest rabbi. How can that be? Because he's the highest Christian too. Then next they announced the death of the Pope. The death of the Pope means the death of the Catholic Church, because they already said he was the last Pope.
This one looks like he's on his last leg.
They just gave the report. He on his last leg.
Oh, as I said, it looked like what's the pictures I saw.
But really, that's just the cover story, because the Pope was an android. Pope Francis, they've been taking him apart, put him in the box and slide him under the bed at night. They only bring him out when they need him to be seen. Because the pedophile they used to that they use as that image, he been electrocuted.
Okay, we're gonna get off of him. Okay, all right. Here's it. Okay, somebody says, "What's up with the white people walking down the street with Germany flags? I guess German flags in Ohio."
That's controlled opposition. It's an antagonist method. They was put there by the police. It's not even a secret. Not only were they put there by the police pretended not to know why he was taking them there. And not only did they pick the spot, they picked the spot where the school would be, where it would make the parents most offensive. It's controlled opposition.
Wow. Okay. Here's one other. Okay. Can you ask Big Chief High Priest Rod Hayes will hit us with a class? Well, can't do a class, not with this time.